Richardson here. I'm going to do a series of videos on Novel Factory software, a software program that I discovered when trying to find a program that helps me plan a novel better. I use Scrivener, which a lot of people do, and is very popular, but it doesn't really help you plan your novel. It has an outlining feature and note cards and stuff I like, but it doesn't give you any guidance. And this is what I think people need, particularly new writers, because you have got to be able to plan your novel at least to some extent. We'll talk about that a little bit because a lot of people don't like to plan at all. They just want to sit down and write. But and that has its advantages, and we'll talk about that. Here's their page. It's novelsoftware.com or www.novel-software.com. And they provide a free trial, which is 7 days only. I wish it were longer, but that's that. At the end of 7 days, you either buy it or that you can't use it anymore. So you download it and install it just like you do every software. And we come over to the page. Once it starts up, it comes to an introductory page, and you which is self-explanatory. It won't bother with it. And this is the interface it comes up with. One thing it has is this roadmap. So when you start it, this is really what it looks like. One of the real benefits is it contains this roadmap that has a checklist, and it goes through and it tells you how you should sort of build your novel. You build it. You start from your idea or your premise, and you construct sort of a skeleton of it from the 3-act structure or other versions of it they have. You put together characters, and you write a short synopsis and so forth. And it walks you through the first draft, second draft, and final draft, and so forth. So that gives you an idea of really the process of putting the thing together, rather than just starting and writing and you don't know what's happening. So we'll get rid of that. The interface is very clean. I like it a lot. It has a typical menu up here. One thing they have is very useful is this feedback. So if you find a problem, you go up here in the feedback and you send it to them, and they're very responsive. They've already made a couple of changes based on things I've told them. And then this is sort of the main menu of the whole site, nicely laid out. Planning, which is this page. Characters, so you can build your characters with as much detail or as little detail as you want. And you expand it with these little magnifying glasses, which is typical throughout the software, by the way. So it comes up and you can really build a character with as much or a little detail as you want. You can put a photograph of the character and so forth. And the same thing with locations. And you add locations so that as you're writing the thing, you can keep track of where people are. In my case, it's only a spaceship. Scenes, and we're going to talk about this in great detail later on, but it has a way for you to lay out a scene. So you summarize this in the synopsis part, and you can expand it. And how this works is basically all right, come on. It comes up with sort of a scene summary. So you can, here you write your scene. But you can also look at the scene summary. Okay, so I know, all right, here's what I want to do. And it's a scene, so it has a goal, a conflict, and a disaster. And we'll talk about that later. And then you can keep track of drafts. That's another great part about it, because you can write your first draft, and then you can go on to the second draft and a final draft and so forth. So here I have first draft. Hopefully there should be something in here. And you can block the scenes, character locations. Okay, so there's nothing in there because I haven't told it to do that yet. And here's the overview. So it gives you sort of the outline of the scene and the summary of what's going to happen. So we'll get out of there, and we'll go back to the planning. Also, they have a way for you to keep track of your submissions. So when you submit to an agent, once you've gone through, this is something you're going to do about 2 years later. Oh, well, I don't know, I exaggerate, but for me it is. Who the agent is and so forth. This is useful, but there are other programs that that are much more useful than that. Resources. This is basically a list of links. So I wanted to know the definition of a parsec, so I researched it, and I said I'm going to keep that so I can refer to it easily. Notes. You can, it just comes up with a text box, and you can write in, you got to add a new note, and it comes up with a text box, and you just type in whatever you want to do. And then one thing I find very useful about this is statistics. I find Scrivener kind of lax in that area. You can keep track of your word count, a percentage, and so forth, but this has nice little graphs and charts, which I like. You can put in the target finish date, estimated number of words. It tells you how many words you have currently, and so forth. And lovely little chart over here, which they break down a story into what they call head scenes, tail scenes, and incident scenes, and we'll talk about that later. And this shows you how it's shaping up, because it should be mainly head and tail scenes, almost evenly distributed, with very few incident scenes, for example. So you can get a graphic of that. Progress, you can see where you are, and daily average. So right here, this is none, okay? Remaining 1,000 words. This was a flash fiction piece, supposed to be 1,000 words, and I haven't put any of it in the actual text yet. And other graphs to show you progress over time. So we'll go back to planning, and in the next video we're going to talk about how to start the planning process. So thanks for listening, and take it easy.